Hello everyone, thanks for once again tuning in to Football Planet here on your Pan-African channel Africanews. Coming up in today's show, 4 CAF Champions League quarter-final matches played, 4 goals, 2 wins and 2 draws. That's how things unfolded over the weekend as the CAF Champions League entered the first leg of the quarter-finals. In today's show, we'll be taking a look at some of the key clashes. Our colleague Philemon Mbale, who has been following the action and will later join us to analyze the action. Last week, Gabon parted ways with their Spanish coach, Jose Antonio Camacho. Camacho's dismissal came after the Panthers lost to visiting Zambia 1-0 on Tuesday in an international friendly. To talk about this, we'll be reaching out to Berleck Leckobat, a football analyst in Libreville, Gabon. And Rwanda's FA, the Ferwafa, is in hot soup. 2 of their officials have been arrested for attempted match manipulation after allegations that they bribed a referee who handled their AFCON 2019 qualifier against the Ivory Coast on September 9th in Kigali. We have a detailed report on that. This is Football Planet. Gabon Sports Minister Alain Claude Billie By-Nze announced last week that Jose Antonio Camacho's contract as head coach of the Panthers will not be renewed at the end of November. And now to talk about that, on the line we have Berleck Leckobat, a football pundit in Libreville. Hello Berleck, you are definitely aware of the goings-on in Gabonese football. Why was Camacho dismissed?
After the last defeat in 2 matches, the AFCON 2019 qualifying match against Burundi was a draw, and the other match that followed, the friendly match against Zambia, which Gabon lost by 1-0. Gabon were poor in terms of play and in terms of technical approach. It must be admitted that Camacho has overseen 17 games as the head coach of the Panthers, with 2 wins, 8 draws and 7 defeats.
2 victoires, 8 matchs nuls et 7 défaites. Donc un bilan famélique issu d'une arithmétique de la misère.
That's an arithmetic of misery.
Cette décision des autorités gabonaises, c'était
other things that motivated this decision of the Gabonese authorities is the character.
Espagnol qui vivait en Espagne et qui ne venait à Libreville que lors des rencontres de l'équipe nationale.
He had no continuous presence in Gabon for the preparation, development and management of the environment in the field of national sports.
Pour maîtriser l'environnement, pour aller au contact de certains joueurs en ce qui concerne le championnat national.
And tell us, Leckobat, is a local Gabonese coach that is conversant with Gabonese football and players desired or not desired? In short, is hiring a local coach an option?
I think it is time to take the lead of the Gabonese selection, a Gabonese who knows this environment. For example, Gabon reached the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations with a Gabonese head coach, Alain Costa Suarez.
A gagné la Coupe d'Afrique des moins de 23 ans au Maroc, c'était avec Claude Mbourounou, un Gabonais. Voilà des éléments qui
In 2011, Gabon won the Africa Cup of Nations under 23 in Morocco with Claude Mbourounou, a Gabonese. These are the elements that have motivated the sports authorities to recruit at the local level and set up support elements, because here again it's a problem in general and the salary plan. You do not have to be very high. Aliou Cissé was the lowest paid coach at the World Cup.
And so before we let you go, so what would be the desired profile for the next man for the job?
I continue to believe that a local Gabonese will take this position. Maybe Claude Mbourounou, for example. I'm not up for a trio of coaches because here too, I wonder why, when it comes to bringing a Belgian or a German coach, there is only one head who comes with his staff. But when it comes to hiring from the local level, he's just alone. We must bring together 3 heads: Claude Mbourounou, Claude Pascal Kossi, and Nicolas Ondenu. We take the 3, they will try to restart the team. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Or we take Mbourounou and he is responsible for the team. or continue to do in the expatriation, where we will look for a coach elsewhere who has no talent, that does not have a serious background like Camacho?
Thank you, Berleck, for sharing your thoughts with us. That was Berleck Leckobat speaking to us from Libreville in Gabon. To matters Champions League, the first leg of the quarterfinals of the Champions League and the CAF Confederations CAF were played over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, respectively. In the Champions League, only 4 goals were scored in all the 4 matches that were played. But despite the shortage of goals, the action was intense. Today we have a guest to give us a quick analysis of the action. Hello, Philemon.
Hello, Victor.
Thanks for stopping by. Now, let's talk about the Tunisian derby, the match between Espérance and Étoile du Sahel. Do you think the favorite to win it could be coming out of this group?
Yeah, the best way to put your opponents into panic mode is to open scoring early in an encounter. And of course, that is exactly what Espérance of Tunis did with this set piece. Now, the visitors took time to regain steam with a series of attempts, which, of course, finally paid off from a similar event, a set piece that was poorly calculated, and then came the equalizer 29 minutes on into the game. And so at halftime, the spoils were shared, 1 goal on either side. In the second half, both goalkeepers had their nerves really tested on several counts. But from another set piece, it was Étoile's goalkeeper who failed to handle what turned out to be the winner for Espérance of Tunis. And now to your question. Yes, the winner of this year's CAF Champions League is not far-fetched, as there is another gladiator in 5-times winner, Tupuisan Mazembe from the DRC. Espérance has won this competition twice prior, and of course, Étoile 1 time.
And quickly moving on to the other competition, the CAF Confederations Cup, Congolese side, AS Vita Club, thrashed Moroccans RSB Bakan 3-1. How did you see this action?
Of course, Renaissance opened scoring 24 minutes into the game as Mohamed Aziz put the visitors ahead following a mishandled goal-mouth swing. But then Jean-Marc Makuso led a 1-2 combination in the box and, of course, finished by rattling the roof of the net for an equalizer just before the break. The Congolese in the second half controlled the game, and as once more, Makuso was in the mix of things with a swift header. Juma Shabani showed strength in the last minutes of the game to finish the job for AS Vita Club.
Thank you, Philemon. Thanks for sharing with us your thoughts.
Thank you, Victor.
Philemon is part of our Africanews sports desk. It is said that football is a sport to be enjoyed by all. Morocco's football team for people with dwarfism hopes for sponsors to help fund their participation in an international tournament in Argentina. Details with Philemon Bale and Bridget Ugwe.
Morocco's soccer team for people with dwarfism stands just a few steps away from realizing the dream of competing internationally, but the players cry out for financial help. The team, established in 2017 on the International Dwarfism Awareness Day, hope they can join their peers in Argentina for an international soccer tournament. The annual tournament, Copa America, to be held in Buenos Aires, brings together 12 teams of players with dwarfism from around the world to compete for the title. This year, the Moroccan team was chosen to be the competition's guest of honor, but a lack of funding may risk their participation as the players complain of lack of resources to make the journey across the Atlantic. We have a lot of ambitions, but our main goal is the Copa America competition. We want to go there and bring the title back home. We will be very happy if we Moroccans win it, because when we ask for support, we do not find anyone to help us or stand by us, and all the doors are closed in front of us. We filed a request to Fawzi Lekja, the president of the Moroccan Football Federation, and he welcomed this idea, but we are still waiting for his response to give us a helping hand. Other than that, there is nothing. 50 players from around the country have joined the team since its establishment, but just 18 will make it to Argentina. The teams will play 7 on each side against other teams from South America. Most of the players live in cities around Morocco and have to pay for their own transportation and accommodation fees when they meet up for training. Their training includes playing against regular teams to increase their skill levels and stamina. The players are searching for sponsors to book their flight tickets and accommodation in Argentina.
The Rwanda Football Federation has denied allegations that it bribed a referee who officiated their 2019 AFCON qualifier, which they lost 2-1 to Ivory Coast on September 9th in Kigali. Namibian referee Jackson Pavaza reportedly communicating to CAF that he had been offered a bribe and told the Namibian media about the story. Here's that story.
Two Rwanda Football Federation (FERWAFA) officials have been arrested after Namibian referee Jackson Pavaza alleged they tried to bribe him to influence the outcome of an Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Ivory Coast earlier this month. FERWAFA General Secretary Regis Francois Uwayezu and Commissioner of Competitions Eric Ruhamiriza were detained on suspicion of bribery following the accusations made by Pavaza, who officiated the match in Kigali on September 9. The Rwanda Investigation Bureau is looking into the allegations. Uwayezu, appointed General Secretary in May of this year, and Ruhamiriza deny wrongdoing, and the FERWAFA claimed it was shocked by the remarks of the referee in a statement in response to the claims. Pavaza also claimed the pair attempted to bribe his assistants David Chanika, Shovaleka Nehemea, and Matthews Kanyanga to manipulate the results of the match, which Ivory Coast won 2-1 in favor of the home side. The referee, who immediately reported the incident, alleged the money was in an envelope. FERWAFA dismissed the suggestions of bribery, claiming it was a mix-up over the payment of expenses owed to the four officials.
The first ever African Freestyle Football Championship ended in Nigeria's biggest city over the weekend, Lagos, with Ben Abdul Nader Kone from Ivory Coast winning the tournament. The three-day event, which took place at the Federal Hotel in Lagos, saw freestylers from various parts of the continent compete fiercely to the star prize. Here's that report with Lynette Bahati and Cedric Sehosolo.
Côte d'Ivoire's Ben Abdul Nader Kone emerged the winner of the first ever African Freestyle Football Championship that ended on Saturday in Nigeria's biggest city, Lagos. The three-day event saw freestylers from various parts of the continent compete fiercely for the star prize. As an African, it's important for me because I miss many opportunities and I'm an example to a lot of children, a lot of young people in Africa who want to be like me, and it's really a pleasure.
Anything to put happiness on the faces of people, anything to empower the youth, anything to make people fitter and healthier, anything that can also put money on the table for people and get them independent, move them away from impoverishment, anything that can bring happiness to the world. I'm all for it. And this is what this represents.
The championship also hosts international freestyle professionals. Guinness World Record holder Iya Traore and female freestyle legend Raquel Benetti from Brazil. The World Freestyle Football Association was established by leading freestylers and personnel from within the scene to develop support and structure for the exciting culture and sport.
And that does it for this week's episode of Football Planet. You can always engage us on our social media pages at Africanews in both French and English. You can also find this show and more on our website, www.africanews.com/sport. My name is Victor Muisio. Until next time.